What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. And in today's video we are going to be talking about the most unbeatable fighters in the UFC using a tier list ranging from one man who I don't think is possible to be beaten right now, and then going down the tier list to fighters who I would only favour to lose if they were fighting in a different weight class, or some fighters who I would only feel confident, or I would only pick them to lose against maybe one fighter, and then a few others who are on the come up that look pretty unbeatable. And then in the bottom tier we got those who are very beatable that I can just see losing, and it will not surprise me when they lose. But yeah, let's start off with someone who I believe is in the second top tier, and someone who's pretty relevant right now because they fought just last weekend. Alexandre Pantoja. I've had this dude in, I think, like my last 7 fucking videos that I've put on this channel. I've found a way to include him. But Alexandre Pantoja, I don't think this dude loses a flyweight. I'm gonna just say that. Like, comment down below, who would you pick? And for the guys that I have in this tier for the would only lose upper weight class, tell me who you would pick them to lose against in their own division. Because I don't think he's losing to Kai Kara-France. I don't think he's losing to Moreno or Rival again. He's not losing to Cap again. I think he would make Usyk look way easier if they fought again. Albazi, easy money. Tyra, easy money, my brother. And then the only other guy would be Makachev coming back, and I think he beats Makachev, he beats Elmabayev, he beats fucking Charles Johnson, he beats Tim Elliott. Like, he's already beat half the division, and I don't think he loses to anyone else at flyweight. Unless maybe Figgy cuts back down and doesn't have a bad weight cut somehow, but even that, I think at this stage I'd still pick Pantoja to beat Figgy. I don't see this guy losing at flyweight, bro. And even at bantamweight, I think this dude's competitive with Merab. Umar's probably just way too big for him. I think he can give Jan trouble. Jan struggled with Aljo in the rematch. I think Pantoja, I think he would lose, don't get me wrong. I think he can give Jan trouble. I think he could take down O'Malley. Look, I know O'Malley's big and the frame would be tough, but like, O'Malley's a tall guy, skinny. Asakura's a pretty tall fella, less skinny than O'Malley, more built. O'Malley probably has better wrestling defense than Asakura, but O'Malley got taken down by Merab and held there. Merab doesn't usually take people down and hold them there. He usually takes you down, you get back up immediately because he's not even trying to get control, and then he just keeps spamming takedowns. Against O'Malley, he actually secured meaningful amounts of ground control and like had his back at moments, or had almost mount at moments. So I believe if Pantoja could get O'Malley down, I think he would ultimately probably get caught on the feet, because I think he does struggle with the range. We saw that with the Usyk fight. He would just be at such a reach disadvantage. But in the grappling, he could give O'Malley a lot of trouble. He could give Jan trouble. He could give Merab trouble. I think stylistically Umar would be his worst fight at bantamweight just because of the size. Like, Umar would be so much. Umar would weigh 20 pounds fucking heavier than this dude in the cage. But at flyweight, I don't think this dude loses. And if you do, let me know, because I'm struggling to just envision this guy losing while he's not washed. Like, if he loses in fucking 2 years' time, don't come back to this and be like, bro, it aged like milk, bro. Like, shut up. But like right now, non-washed prime Pantoja, I don't think he loses to a single flyweight. Anyway, let's move on though to another fighter. Next up, we got Umar Nurmagomedov. Now, look, I would have him higher because I think this dude only loses to Merab potentially, and other than that, I don't think he loses to Jan, and I don't think he loses to O'Malley. So he should be higher, but just in terms of what I've actually named the tiers, in terms of like, I'm gonna have that middle tier for only champions that would lose in their division. So Umar, I mean, I could even put him in the second top tier in terms of he would only lose if he moved up, but I do think he's got a decent chance of losing to Merab. But I'll say, the weird thing is, I want him and Merab should be in the same tier, because I think those two either lose to each other. Like, if Merab doesn't lose to Umar, I should say, he doesn't lose to anyone else at bantamweight, and the same goes for Umar in my opinion. So this is the two of theirs, both hardest stylistic matchup in my opinion. So they should be in the same tier, but for now, Umar, we have seen him look a bit vulnerable, I guess, with the striking, so there is a chance he gets chinned by O'Malley, but from the Sandhagen fight, he looked phenomenal, so I don't see this dude losing for a minute unless it's Merab, and if it's not Merab, I think this guy's going to be a long reigning champion at bantamweight. Anyway, let's move on to another fighter. Start, we got Paddy Pimblett, easy money. This dude's extremely beatable. I know for some reason Bedtime's got this thought process going on that this guy's going to be a fucking top 5 fighter, unless the whole fucking sport just doesn't exist. Like, unless there just is no ounce of logic to this fucking sport, Paddy Pimblett should not get past the top 10. He's not good beating Bobby Green the way he did it is not impressive. Bobby Green shot in for a fucking takedown. It's like, okay, here you go. I'm going to give you the exact fight that you want and give you the grappling. Here you go. Let's It's like, hey, let's wrestle. Like, what? Why are you grappling with him? Bobby Green handed him a fucking win on a plate. And I picked Paddy Pimblett because I thought Bobby Green's mid as fuck. Because he is. But Paddy's going to fight Dariush probably. No, Moicano's fighting Dariush. Paddy might fight, I don't know who's Paddy going to fight. Like fucking BSD or something. Him and BSD's a competitive fight. Like, yes, he could take him down. His takedowns are not as good as Moicano, and his jiu-jitsu's not as good either. I don't give a fuck. He's nowhere close to Moicano. I think him and Paddy's a back and forth fight. BSD and Paddy's a back and forth fight. If he fights like a really good, if he fights a fucking Fazeev, he's getting slept. If he he's getting tuned up. If he fights any of these guys who are actually good, he's getting his ass whooped. The only way this guy becomes a top 5 fighter is if they find the most washed fucking top 5 fighter at that time who's coming, like, if they get Gaethje coming off a fucking another KO loss, then maybe he can get him down and sub him because Gaethje's got no jiu-jitsu. But, like, other than that, if this guy fights anyone who's actually a remotely difficult stylistic matchup for him, which is most of the people in the top 10, he should lose because he's not good. His striking's awful. You have to finish Tony Ferguson if you're good. Finish Tony Ferguson on a 7-fight losing streak. Finish Tony Ferguson. I think Paddy Pimblett isn't good at all. Let's move on, though, to the next fighter. Next up, Alex Pereira. Botan Shum. I think this dude loses to Ankalaev or he doesn't lose to anyone at light heavyweight. So he could be in the tier higher, but by definition, that tier above is like, I do not think the guy loses at his weight class. I do think Pereira has a chance of losing to Big Ank. So that's the reason I'll have him here. If he beats Ankalaev, he moves up into that tier in terms of he will not lose at light heavyweight because I think he would beat Blachowicz in a rematch. He would beat Rakic. He would beat Roundtree in a rematch. Beat Blachowicz. I already said that. He would beat Hill, he'd beat Yuri, he'd beat Krylov, he'd beat Olberg, he would beat all of these guys in my opinion. He'd beat Ming Yang Zhang. Ankalaev is his most difficult matchup. I want him to take that fight. I want to stop fucking around. We've seen Merab's taking the Umar fight now. We got John. If John takes the Aspinall fight before Pereira fucking fights Ankalaev, then we got to really start calling this dude out. Right now I'll let him pass, but come on, Pereira, take the Ankalaev fight. There's nothing else. Stop trying to... I know Jamal Hill's being a tard, but, like, don't even fucking engage him. Don't speak to Jamal Hill. Don't respond to him on social media. Fight Ankalaev and no one else. Anyway, let's move on to the next fighter. Next up, we got Shavkat Rakhmonov. Now, before this Ian Gary fight, I probably would have had him in, like, the maybe only loses to one fighter in the division tier. But now, there's multiple guys who I can look at and think would beat Shavkat, right? I think... Don't come at me in the comments. Okay, I'll say other names first. Alright, JDM could beat him. Usman, if he isn't washed, could beat him. Belal, very confident that fight is 50-50, if not leaning Belal. Now I'll say it so that you guys don't immediately get mad at me. Prates, I'm telling you, if this dude has... His takedown defense looks good. Shavkat's entries aren't that good. Like, he got them when he shot against Gary, but, like, he was struggling for, like, basically 3 rounds until he figured out that he could shoot a double leg to get this guy down, right? And he even got his back taken, right? I'm not saying Prates is going to take his back, but, like, if Prates can shore up his double and single leg defense, which it seems like it's not that bad, I think he could beat Shavkat. Just saying. I think on the feet, Shavkat is hittable as fuck, and he would be... Watch Shavkat fight... And, like, he was at a significant speed discrepancy against Gary. Gary was just hella tentative. I'm telling you, Prates is quicker than Gary, and he's more precise as well, and he's got more pop on his shots. He's more dangerous with the hands. Prates has a good chance of beating Gary. JDM, Usman, Belal, all these... Leon, I said... And then everyone said this take aged badly after Leon lost to Belal. I said Leon had an extremely good chance and I might pick him after he beat Colby. I said I would pick this dude right now to beat Shavkat. And you guys said, oh, you're retarded, bro. The fuck are you talking about? Like, you're just falling into the fucking headshot dead thing. He's not even that good, right? And he looked shit against Belal. So that's when everyone was like, okay, see, what a dumb take. But, like, after this, I'm telling you, Leon Shavkat is competitive. Probably leaning Shavkat just because of aggression and Leon just allows himself to be pressured. But if Shavkat doesn't just be a marauder and go on the front foot, he's losing that fight. Like, if he stands at range like he did with Gary, Leon's going to throw more shots. Leon won't be as tentative, even though he's very tentative. He will throw more than Gary, and he will do better in the grappling, I believe, than Gary. Maybe not offensively, but defensively, I don't think Shavkat takes this guy down, to be honest. Like, I think Leon's much stronger hipped, if you can call it that, stronger bodied in the clinch, and in terms of the wrestling defense, I don't think Shavkat takes him down. So yeah, Shavkat, I've gone from like thinking maybe this dude loses to like 1 or 2 people to like he's competitive now with like basically the whole top 5. Like, I wouldn't be confident picking him to beat Leon, JDM, Belal, Usman, Prates. I wouldn't be confident picking him against any of these guys. But anyway, let's move on though to another fighter. Next up, we got Merab. I already kind of talked about the situation with Umar in terms of I think if he beats Umar, no one else beats him. So I think it's one guy that he can lose to, and if not, he's going to clear out the rest of the division. So yeah, if he beats Umar, then I'll bump him up that top tier, or that second top tier, and say he would only lose at featherweight, because I think he'd get smoked by a lot of featherweights. Merab cut to flyweight, buddy. I don't know, but like, I don't think this dude loses to anyone but Umar. So that's the fight. That's what we need to see. I'm glad he took it as well. Bro's crashing out beyond belief. Apparently the guy that he had a fucking fight with in the crowd went to Umar and Islam, like Team Makachev invited that, Team Khabib, whatever, Team Inshallah, invited that guy to fucking dinner with them. They were hanging out. I said on my community post, if Umar's smart, he should invite that guy, get that man front row seats to UFC 311 and have him just screaming at Merab on the walkout. Merab will crash out and just lose focus. He will. So that's it's a very smart decision that they should make if they're intelligent. But anyway, let's move on though to another fighter. Next up, we got Islam Makhachev. I do not think this dude loses to a single lightweight, and I love Charles Oliveira. I love a lot of guys at lightweight, but no one, I don't think, beats him at lightweight. If he moves up to welterweight, it's a different story. But even after watching fucking Shavkat, like originally there was like a narrative of like, oh, Islam's not going up to welterweight, Shavkat will kill him, bro. Shavkat loses to him. Islam fucking beats Shavkat's ass after watching that fight. I'm gonna just say that. Islam outstrikes him and doesn't get... Like, he beats him everywhere. Islam is a better fighter than Shavkat everywhere. Maybe the size, but I don't even think Shavkat's that much stronger than him. Belal... Bro, it's honestly like you'd have to go up 2 weight classes for me to be really confident picking someone against him. Like, it would take a Khamzat Chimaev or a Dricus du Plessis for me to be like, yeah, he's 100% losing. Because, like... You're telling me you're picking Belal against him with confidence, or you're picking Shavkat against him with confidence, or JDM? JDM's getting taken down, or Usman. At this stage, he beats Usman. Low-key, Islam could just be reigning double champion, or just go once, beat Arman, go up, and then reign welterweight. Because if he beats Arman, wins the welterweight belt, he's like top 3 goats, and then if he defends it, he's the goat of the sport. Like, that would be like 18 fight win streak, I think, because he's at 15 right now. I think he's at 14 or 15. 15 right now, I believe. Beats Arman, ties Silva. If he goes up, beats Silva's win streak record while winning the welterweight belt, he's fucking arguably the GOAT of the sport already. But if he defends it, but like, tell me who you'd confidently pick against Islam at welterweight. Don't tell me I'm overrating Islam. It's not that I think Islam is some unbeatable monster, which he kind of is, but it's like, I don't think many of the welterweights are that good matchups with him stylistically. Like, maybe the size causes him trouble, but like, Belal's not that much bigger than him, bro. Islam cuts a lot of weight. He'd be roughly the same size as a lot of these welterweights, I reckon. He beats Colby. I reckon he beats Usman. He beats Shavkat, in my opinion. Belal's competitive. I think he wins. I think he beats JDM. Like, stylistically, I think it's a good division for him to go up. So yeah, Islam, I arguably should have him top tier, because I really don't see anyone that he'll actually fight that'll beat him, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, let's move on to another fighter. Next up, we got Bum Nickal, NPC fucking shit fighter, overrated ass guy. But guys, I can go to a decision. GSP and DJ and John, they went to plenty of decisions. Guys, it's alright, guys. I don't even know. Well, I'm not gonna. What's a Bo Nickal impression? Challenge anyone to do a Bo Nickal impression, unless you're just from where Bo Nickal's from and you just speak normally. How does that guy even sound? He's a fucking bot. He's got no distinguishing characteristics other than his fucking AI-generated looking-ass photo that we got right here. But this dude's very beatable. I would pick pretty much every ranked fighter to beat him right now, except for the guys with just 0 takedown defense. But even then, take down Cody Brundage straight away and ragdoll him and finish him in the first round, please. Finish Paul Craig, please. Like, what are you doing to be not finishing Paul? Like, Brendan Allen subbed Paul Craig. Brendan Allen's fucking shit. Like, no, I'm sorry. Allen's not bad, but like, Bo Nickal, you suck. I think he loses to anyone good. RoboCop kills this dude. fucking Roman Kopylov beats him probably. I don't know. But yeah, I don't think Bo Nickal's good at all. Developmental time is what he needs, but yeah, I'm saying right now, if he fights people right now, he's getting his ass whooped. Let's move on though to another fighter. Next up, we got Ilia Topuria. I don't think this dude loses to a featherweight right now. I think he beats Volk in a rematch. I think he beats Lopez. As much as I hate to see it, I would love to see Lopez beat him, but I think he would win that. And I think he beats Movzar. I think he would beat fucking anyone else who's gonna fight. Who else? Like Alger, he would beat Alger. I don't think this dude loses to a featherweight right now. Lightweight, Islam. But if Islam moves up to welterweight and this guy goes up to lightweight, I'm honestly not confident picking against him still. Islam I would pick to beat him. I think he's just too big. But I wouldn't be confidently picking anyone except for Islam against him. And even Islam's a close fight. But if he fights fucking Arman or Oliveira for a break, I think he KOs Oliveira. Oliveira, I think that's a bad matchup. Ilia's a bad matchup for Oliveira. But who else would he fight for a vacant belt? He would either fight Arman or Oliveira for a vacant belt. Realistically, I think he could beat both of them. Arman could wrestle him, but I think this dude could be a double champion as well, to be honest. So he just wants it. I know he's calling for Islam. If you want the better chance of being a double champ, I know Islam's a legacy fight, that'd do much more for you than an Arman. But I think if you win a second belt in general, it still does a lot for you. So if you want to win, if you want to risk it against Islam and maybe get the ultimate legacy and maybe you lose, then sure. But if you want to almost, not guarantee, but give yourself a much better chance of winning 2 belts, wait for Islam to go up to welterweight and fight fucking Arman or fight Oliveira and KO either of them. Anyway, let's move on though to another fighter. Next up, we got Jon Jones. He loses to Aspinall. Probably wouldn't lose to I think he loses to Volkov. The Volkov that beat Garn, and yes, he won that fight. That Volkov beats the Jones that fought Stipe, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong because he did get taken down by Garn. But I think Volkov versus Jones is a competitive fight. I think Aspinall kills Jones. Anyway, let's move on though to another fighter. Next up, Anthony Hernandez, someone who you might not have expected on this list, but I don't think this guy loses to too many people. I'm going to just say that. He's fighting Brendan Allen. He's going to whoop Brendan Allen's ass because fuck Brendan Allen on grip. And I think the only guys who would pose a challenge to this dude would be a Dricus, because they just match to retardation, would be Khamzat in the grappling, would be a Strickland potentially, but even Strickland's, I think he beats Izzy. I think he fucking finishes Izzy in the 4th or 5th. Who else? I think he beats a Cannonier, he beats a Vittori, I think he beats a Whitaker at this stage. Am I forgetting someone? A Mavov. I think he's just too much for Mavov, and Mavov doesn't do well when he gets repetitively grappled. He gasses out. I think this dude beats a lot of guys, and Dricus and Khamzat are probably the only two who I would lean towards picking him. Strickland, I'd be 50-50, probably lean Strickland, because he does have cardio. But even Strickland didn't do well when Dricus was pushing on him in the wrestling in the 4th. So I think Hernandez could beat anyone except for Khamzat and Dricus, and even Dricus, sorry. He could gas that dude out and win. So we'll see what happens. But he is susceptible to getting hurt early to the body, so maybe. But I think Hernandez is a top 5 guy right now in terms of skill and who he would beat. Anyway, let's move on though to someone else. Next up, we got Shara Magomedov, an undefeated fighter in the UFC, but probably one of the most exposable undefeated fighters right now that I would pick against in pretty much any fight against a top level opponent. Hermanson, I would pick him to lose to, I think even Washed Cannonier at this point beats him. Rodriguez whoops his ass. Even Nickal probably beats this dude. I think Shara would lose to Hernandez, would do bad things to Shara. I think this dude's grappling is so exploitable, and I think even his striking is mid as fuck. Mavov outstrikes this dude, Izzy outstrikes this dude, Strickland outstrikes this dude, Whitaker outstrikes this dude, unless he gets randomly chinned. I don't think Shara's that good. But, I think he's mid as fuck. Bruno Silva, Mikhail Alekjachuk, who's the other bum that he fought? Antonio Tricoli, and then Petrosian's his only good win, and he was competitive in that fight until he randomly caught him with a fucking Beyblade combination. So, I think Shara's mid as fuck. Let's move on, though, to another fighter. Next up, we got Mario Bautisto. I just wanted to put him on the list because fuck this dude. I hate him. And I just find it funny to fucking make jokes about how shit Mario Bautista is because we all want him to die and we all hate him as a person. So yeah, fuck him and his mentality. Let's move on though to another fighter. Alright, Carlos Prates, CP is unbeatable. I'm going to just leave it at that. Moving on, no. But I will elaborate, hear me out. No, Carlos Prates, though he is beatable, he can be fraud-checked in the grappling potential, and he could be caught because his hands are always down, and I am worried that he randomly gets countered being too cocky. Like, JDM could catch him. Me saying he beats JDM is not me saying, oh, he would run through JDM. JDM doesn't have a chance. That's me saying I think he's a bit quicker than JDM. I think he's a bit more powerful, a bit more precise. And I think he's just a fraction better with the hands and not with the hands, fraction better with the striking, quicker with the hands, and just a bit more well-rounded on the feet. But he could still get caught like how JDM caught Randy Brown. But I do think this dude would beat a lot of guys, and I'm not crazy to say that he would have a competitive fight with Shavkat and be beating him on the feet. If he loses that fight, it's him getting taken down after whooping Shavkat's ass on the feet, in my opinion. Maybe I'm overrating him. Potentially I am. I don't know. I'm open to finding out. But I'd rather be invested in a prospect and be like, alright, this dude's going to fucking beat everyone, and then everyone calls me crazy. And then either I'm right and I look like a genius, or I'm horribly wrong. None of these fence-sitting motherfuckers like fucking Kenneth Okoye fence-sitter makes a video saying Stipe is going to expose Jones and then fucking changes his mind the next week. Like, enough with the fence-sitting. If you're going to go the whole way, go the whole way. Glaze to the max, or just fully shit on the person and say they have no future. I hate when people be like, oh, no, this dude's a bum, and then, like, next fight they win and be like, yeah, no, actually, I really like this guy. He's good. So, yeah, Prates, I'm going to be on the train. I'm going to be on the CP train till the very end. And yeah, you guys will get to clown me when he loses, and I'll get to fucking parade when he wins and act like I'm a genius. Some fucking crypto shit, bro. Just investing, being like, see guys, I told you to invest in Bitcoin in fucking 2012, bro. I told you to invest in CP, guys. Anyway, let's move on though to another fighter. Next up, Belal Muhammad. Look, I think he is competitive with a lot of guys. I think Shavkat's close. I think JDM's a relatively close fight that I think Belal wins. I think Sean Brady in a rematch is close. But all these fights are close, but I would kind of lean Belal. So I want to have him in... I can't put him in the higher tier because for me saying, he would only lose if he moves up. Like, no. I could see this dude losing to multiple fighters, but they're all close. There's no one right now who I would pick to smoke Belal Muhammad, other than the state of Israel. Anyway, let's move on, though, to another fighter. Next up, we got Khamzat Chimaev. He's not a champion, but I don't think this dude loses to anyone at middleweight right now. Maybe Dricus, and Dricus is the close one. But again, I needed to have the tiers even for my mental sanity. So I'm putting Khamzat in this tier because I think he's more likely than a du Plessis, who I'll talk about in a sec, to not lose. Like, Dricus is competitive with everyone, I feel like, and he will just come out on top in like a retardation fight. But Khamzat, I think, smokes everyone except for DDP, who's competitive. So I'm going to put him in this tier. And even at light heavy, there's guys that would be too big for him, I feel like, but like Pereira, you guys can't tell me you'd be confident picking Pereira in that fight. Like, you guys can't tell me you're not confident that Khamzat will just fucking take him down straight away and sub him. Like Pereira, who got taken down and got his back taken by Jan Blachowicz in the first. Like, Khamzat, I think, is a problem for anyone within fucking 30 pounds of his weight. Let's move on, though, to another fighter. Next up, we got fucking first evolution Leon Edwards here, Lerone Murphy, bro. This dude's very beatable. He's just here because, like, I want to have, like, people in the bottom tier that are considered somewhat prospects or on the rise in their divisions, but I do think would lose. So, yeah, Lerone Murphy. Can't be getting dropped bad by Dan Ige. That's not the best look. So, yeah, 34-year-old grown-ass man prospect. Like, get off the streets of Liverpool, bruv. You're not rolling anyone for their TNs. Like, fuck out of here. Anyway, let's move on to another fighter. Next up, I got Diego Lopes. I don't see this guy losing to too many people. Ilia's won. But he looks difficult to beat, you can't lie. Like, this dude's striking is nasty. He's got crazy jiu-jitsu. Wrestling defense maybe needs some work. Like, he is susceptible to getting held on bottom, it seems, like what Movzar showed. But I think Movzar's the only guy that would do that to him. Other than that, it's like Movzar's his most dangerous fight in the grappling in terms of, like, just controlling him. And then Ilia's his most dangerous fight in the striking. But other than that, I don't think anyone other than Ilia outstrikes him. And I don't think anyone other than Movzar could potentially out-grapple him. I would pick him to beat Movzar in a rematch. I would only pick him to lose to Ilia, because I would pick him at this stage to catch Volk and chin him. Because I think if you're almost sleeping Ortega in 30 seconds, you're catching Volk at some point. Like, so yeah, Ilia. Lopes, I would only favour him to lose to Ilia, to be honest. So yeah, looks very difficult to beat right now. Let's move on, though, to another fighter. Next up, we got Dricus du Plessis. I'm going to put him in the could lose in their division tier because it would be wrong of me to say that I think he just beats everyone easily. Like, every Dricus fight, I'm really interested to know what the opening odds are going to be for the rematch. I think Dricus will be like minus 150, minus 160, and I think he will win. I'm probably going to pick him to win. If you want, I can do a video on that fight, but I might just wait till more fights get announced. We'll see. But Dricus, it would be wrong of me to say that I'm like so confident that he beats everyone except Khamzat. Like, I think Khamzat's a competitive fight, which I think he would lose. I think this Strickland rematch will be competitive. I think he could finish Strickland though. I think an easy rematch is still relatively competitive. I think in a Mavov fight, a Hernandez fight, and a Baralio fight, I think all of these fights are decently competitive, but he just out-autisms all of them. But it's like, I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, Dricus just runs through the whole division. This is not a Pantoja situation where I'm just not even interested in half of these fights because I'm like, yeah, there's no chance that he loses. So yeah, Dricus, I could see him losing to really anyone that he fights because that's just how his style works. Anyway, let's move on though to the last fighter to discuss. The last fighter to discuss in the very top tier is Tommy Aspinall. I'm not even the biggest fan of Aspinall. Like, I don't hate on Aspinall. I've never disliked him. But I'm not like a D1 Tom Aspinall glazer, right? Like MMA Guru. But I respect that this dude is fucking crazy good, and I don't think I would pick anyone to beat him. Jones is the guy that potentially could beat him with the crafty bet experience, maybe take him down, expose him a bit on the ground, show the lighter man grappling skill. But other than Jones, who maybe could beat him, but I think Jones is washed and old, and I think he would do pretty mid. I think he would KO the Garn that fought Volkov, he would sleep out cold. The Volkov that fought Garn, I think would be a bit more competitive than first fight, but I would not in any way say that I think Volkov is going to win that fight. I think he would kill Almeida. I think he would kill Blades in another fight. Who else? Who else is there on the horizon, bro? Like, we got fucking Kennedy and Zedriku is the new fucking prospect at heavyweight, bro. Like, we got no one. We got Mick Parkin, Shamil Gaziev, and Waldo Cortez Acosta are a fucking trifecta of 3 ranked fighters. If those 3 are ranked fighters in your division, Shamil Gaziev coming off 1 win over Dante Almeida, 2 wins in the UFC, 2-1 record in the promotion. And then you got Mick Parkin, who's like 3-0 in the promotion, arguably lost to Caio Machado, who then went down and lost at light heavyweight to Brenson Ribeiro. That's one of his arguable losses. And then you got Waldo Cortez Acosta, who's a bum. He lost to Delima, but apart from that, he's actually not bad. So yeah, but Mick Parkin and Shamil Gaziev, more so Shamil Gaziev, who is the GOAT to be fair, but like, don't want to disrespect the greatness, but you cannot be having these guys. Like, I will like fucking side-eye welterweight when Magny's still ranked, or Anthony Smith at light heavyweight, and be like, how the fuck have you guys left this guy? Like, how is your division that weak that you haven't booted this guy out of the top 15 long ago? Like, how are your best prospects like Vitor Petrino getting fucking submitted by Anthony Smith? Heavyweight is so much worse because there's more than one of them. Like, skill for skill, no one in the bottom 8 of the heavyweight division is ranked caliber in any other division. And that's a fact. Like, I think it ends at Rosenstrike. Rosenstrike, you could say, is like, one of those powerful kind of sloppy kickboxers. But like Ty, Lewis, WCA, Marcos Rogério de Lima, Mick Parkin, Shamil Gaziev, Ty Bora even. None of these guys are fucking top 15 caliber in any other division. If we're doing a bottom fucking 15 pound for pound list, which I should do, then it's basically half the back end of heavyweight. But anyway, that'll do it, guys. Aspinall, I don't think he loses to anyone. Maybe Pereira catches him moving up, but I really don't think he loses. But that'll do it, guys. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, follow my Instagram and Twitter, Left Lane MMA. Drop some video ideas you guys want to see in the comments. Did you enjoy this one? What other fighters do you think are seemingly unbeatable to you? Or what placements on this tier list would you change? But other than that, goodbye, guys. Peace out. And go back to watching some CP highlights like we all do in our spare time. Goodbye.